Is there no one? Is there no local, state, or federal authority that can do something to save the Oakland Athletics? Is there no one? John Fisher owns the team. He can do whatever he wants with the team. It's his business. He paid for it. Okay? However, have you seen what he's doing with his business? This is the movie Major League all over again. Okay. Just a couple of weeks ago, they took their best player, a rookie who stole 70 bases last year, led the American League in stolen bases even though he missed 6 weeks with an injury. First week of the season, they sent him to AAA. He's Willie Mays Hayes. This guy has purposely cut the payroll down to nothing. He's purposely let the stadium fall into disrepair. He's purposely trying to lose 100 games. He's purposely trying to make everybody else pay for a new stadium. And what's he doing now? He's taking the team to, they're going to be playing in an abandoned Radio Shack in West Sacramento for 3 years. And that's until he moves the team to Las Vegas, Sin City. Woo! Bright lights for the Oakland Athletics. And they're going to pay for a stadium for him there because they're idiots. And he's going to put slot machines on every seat back so every person in the stadium can lose all their money by the 7th inning stretch. And this makes me gambling mad. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Gambling Mad. My name is Norman Chad. I am your host. Gambling Mad, as always, sponsored by Fritos. Fresh from a Frito tree in Central California to your grocer the same day. And by Fresca. Refreshing, rejuvenating, remarkable. It's Fresca. Fritos and Fresca, it's a meal. All right, we need to get music. Where's my producer? We need to get music after my opening rant, and then when we start, we need music. We need a musical interlude. God, just get something on iPhone, Apple Play, and play the music. Today we will talk about. I'm actually in a good mood. We will talk about Roger Goodell, the Buffalo Bills. Pickleball. I won't be in a good mood when it comes to pickleball. And NBA referees and officiating. That's what's on tap for today. Let's start with my man Roger Goodell. I know it's off season. I know we're gearing up for that NFL draft. I'm surprised the NFL draft hasn't been monetized more. Everything that Roger Goodell does, of course, is to monetize the NFL as best as possible. He's paid $70 million a year to help the owners make as much money as possible. Gambling, of course, is a sticky point. I just wanted, for the record, to go over Roger Goodell's gambling stance over the last 20 years. This will be Roger Goodell in a nutshell. This will be the National Football League in a nutshell. This will be everything you can think of that could possibly be hypocritical in sports in a nutshell. Usually we use the NCAA for that. We're gonna give them a break this week. The NCAA that's just some grifting, hustling scheme for the last 50 years that continues to be a grifting, hustling scheme that now involves gambling, of course. Everything involves gambling, of course. You think the Pope doesn't play bingo on Sundays? Okay, Roger Goodell. Let's go over his gambling stance. Back in 2003, 20 years ago, Goodell would not allow the Las Vegas Convention Visitors Authority to run a 30-second commercial promoting the city's tourism during the Super Bowl. That's how much distance the NFL wanted from gambling. Just a Las Vegas piece, just 30 seconds. Hey, come to Las Vegas, entertainment, woo, 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 dancing girls, woo, 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 buffets. No. We can't have that on the Super Bowl. That was just 21 years ago. In 2009, Delaware was trying to do their NFL betting lottery. They were one of the first state outside of Nevada that involved the NFL with gambling in the United States. It was called a betting lottery, and they were trying to renew it. And Roger Goodell wrote a letter to the Delaware governor at that point, and this is what he said. He was protesting the NFL betting lottery. He said, By legalizing sports betting, it will be in Delaware's interest to create ever larger numbers of new gamblers as the state attempts to maximize any revenue found in this promotion. The negative social impact of additional gambling cannot be minimized in a community. Roger Goodell. 3 years later, 2012, New Jersey was trying to legalize sports gambling, and Mr. Goodell, he was not in favor of it. 2012, it's not that long ago. 2012, I had the same glasses that I do today. Goodell said it's a very strongly held view in the NFL, it has been for decades, that the threat that gambling could occur in the NFL or fixing of games or that of any income could be influenced by an outside source could be very damaging to the NFL and very difficult to recover from. 2017. The NFL owners approved the Raiders' move from Oakland to Las Vegas. Is everybody moving out of Oakland? I mean, even the Warriors went from Oakland to San Francisco. Anyway, in 2017, just a scant 7 years ago, now Goodell says society in general has a little bit of a change with respect to gambling in general. We've seen that I think we will strongly oppose legalized sports gambling. The integrity of our game is number one. We will not compromise on that. And then in 2018, the Supreme Court essentially made it legal for sports betting on a state-by-state basis if they wanted to allow gambling. And we're up to there. And Roger Goodell came to Las Vegas, might have seen Cirque du Soleil, might have had a burger. And he said at that point, we think that sports gambling in many ways creates a lot more engagement for our fans. It gives them another opportunity to engage with the game. There you go, my friends, Roger Goodell. There you see the cycle of gambling is bad, gambling hurts our integrity, we do nothing at all to threaten our integrity, to now gambling engages our fans. It's all about engagement. Like it's a Twitter account. It's a National Frickin' Football League. Now, I will say this. They can do anything they want. That's always my argument. John Fisher, the athletics owner, can do anything he wants with this team. The NFL can move ahead. And if you're Jerry Jones, if you're Mark Cuban in the NBA, if you're a baseball or hockey owner, why would you want others to profit off of your product? Why do you want to be in on the game? If everybody's making money on gambling off of the backs of your hardworking athletes who you don't underpay, you should have a piece of the pie. In fact, I'm surprised if I'm the NFL, I open up their own sports book. I would undercut DraftKings and FanDuel and whatever, take a smaller vig and offer promotions like for free seats and this or that, or you can talk to Troy Aikman at halftime of a game. And why shouldn't you bring in the money? You be the sports book. Everybody else is profiting off it. Why shouldn't you? That is the NFL. Let me say this to Roger Goodell, though. $70 million man, very nice suits that he wears. Are they Armani? They might be even custom made for him. $70 million a year, talking about gambling. When I hear him talk about gambling from here on in, this is what I'm going to think. Let's move on to the next graft the NFL is running. They've been running for quite a while. They're called personal seat licenses. They figured out some way that before you buy your season tickets, you need to get a personal seat license, which gives you the right to those season tickets. So you pay a one-time only fee, not too bad, $10,000, $20,000, $50,000 per seat, to lock in that seat, and then you pay for season tickets for as long as you want. And then if you get tired of that, if you can find somebody else to buy that season, that license, you can sell the license to somebody else, maybe profit off of it, and they can have the season tickets. Let's bring us to the Buffalo Bills. I'm not going to name their owner right now. Apparently he's a John Fisher type. New Bills Stadium has been talked about for years. The Bills have an incredibly faithful fan base. They fill up that stadium, no matter what the temperature is, forever. Large stadium, 70,000, 80,000 people filling up. So they're building a new stadium. Okay. Now, the stadium originally is going to cost $1.4 billion. It's now going to cost $1.7 billion. It might cost more. Of the $1.7 billion, New York State and Erie County is on the hook for about $850 million. I think to throw out these numbers like they're nothing. $850 million. That's half of the cost taxpayers in the state of New York. Okay. In return, how are they going to pay for the rest of the stadium? A billionaire owner. I mean, that's only half the cost. It's personal seat licenses. So if you've been a 30-year Bills season ticket holder and you've had these particular tickets, not only to switch those tickets to the new stadium, the tickets themselves are going to cost more, but they're making you pay a personal seat license. Let's say you have 4 tickets forever. The personal seat license, depending on what the tickets are, can be up to $50,000. So you got 4 tickets. You got to pay $200,000 up front. That's, in some parts of America that pays for a house. In a lot of parts of America, that pays for 4 years of college for your kid. You got to pay $200,000 up front to keep your tickets. If you don't want them to do that, you're gone. Doesn't matter if you've been a 30-year person. Doesn't matter what your status is. Doesn't matter how much support you've given. You're gone. And so more than half the NFL teams would do this. Again, it's their business. We can walk away from it if we want. It's their business. Imagine, this might be a false equivalence, but imagine if you like going to the movies. You like going to your local AMC. But before you buy those tickets, let's say you want tickets in the same spot. But before you buy those tickets, paying $10, $15, $20 for a ticket to go see Barbie, you got to buy a personal seat license. You got to pay a one-time fee. Would you pay a one-time fee of $1,000, for instance, to make sure that then you can pay $10, $15, or $20 every time you go to the movies? Would you pay a personal seat license at a movie theater? No, you wouldn't! Okay, so let's just review this again. Taxpayers foot the bill for half of the stadium. The rest, more taxpayers, those who want to sit in the stadium, have to foot the other part of the bill through personal seat licenses. America, my friends. And again, there's a gambling element in here that we're not going to talk about today, because gambling now is the new engine that drives the car until the car breaks down and everybody's in a ditch and nobody has any money and nobody has a AAA card. Pickleball. Pickleball! I'm here to announce to you that Naples, Florida, which is the self-proclaimed pickleball capital of the world, is going to host the largest, most prestigious tournament in the sport. It's the 8th annual U.S. Open Pickleball Championships. They start April 13th. It is otherwise known as the biggest pickleball party in the world. Okay, 40,000 people watched it last year. 3,000 players competed in it. Naples, in case you don't know, that's in Southwest Florida. They have the Naples Pickleball Center. It's not an opera company there. They don't do theater. They do pickleball. It might be the top pickleball facility in the United States. It's the largest pickleball facility in the country. 2,200 members. I've discussed pickleball before. I'm going to discuss it again here and hope that we can start maybe some type of groundswell against pickleball. Okay, let me see if I understand this correctly. We fought for freedom and independence from the big bad British Empire 240 or 50 years ago so that we could play pickleball. It is loud. It is dumb. Okay, and nobody really gets any exercise. If you're playing tennis, you got to move back and forth. It's a pretty large court. You're playing racquetball. It's very active. Kickball, you just stand there and you boop, boop, boop. Okay, and not only it's the weird. What are the chances to figure out this dichotomy? You got virtually no exercise, yet older bodies, everybody gets hurt. Their knees, their hips, their backs. This pickleball phenomenon's got to go. It's got to go. It's got to go. I'm hoping it's just one of those little fads that come and go. Like cactuses that speak to you. Pickleball's got to go. I will not be going into the Naples area. If you are down there, it is the 8th annual U.S. Open Pickleball Championships from April 13th to 23rd. And the guy who runs it's also the founder of the National Pickleball League. And that is opening its second season next month. There will be 6 new teams all over. What is this? Do you hear dogs barking? I know we shouldn't do this. I know we shouldn't do this live. I'm going to tell you now a very personal story. It has to do with gambling. I've told the story before. I'll tell it again. It's part of my charge to let people know that everybody or anybody should be able to gamble. It should be legal. But practically nobody should gamble because it can be dangerous. This is a story about a very, very good friend of mine. Last century, young man in his 20s. Started to bet, not big, $50 a game, $100 a game, 1 or 2 games a night, NBA, MLB, NFL. And over the course of close to a year, he was making some money, not a lot of money, small profit. One of the keys I think he did, and this is a good thing to remember if you are gambling, is he had small volume. He wasn't trying to hit parlays, 16 parlays. He wasn't betting 8 NBA games a night. He picked out a game, maybe 2, to concentrate on. The less volume, the better chance you have of not losing, is all I can tell you. The more you put into action, even if there wasn't a VIG, you're going to lose, and the VIG's going to kill you. Okay? If with a 10% VIG, old school, you have to hit 53% of your picks just to stay even. So he bet small, $50, $100 a game for the course of most of the year, built up a small little bankroll. Then during the middle of the baseball season, which he'd been betting, this was August of the baseball season, he bet a game on Tuesday night for $50 and he lost. He bet another game on Wednesday night for $50 and he lost. Thursday, he wanted to get his money back, just get back to even or so. So he bet $100 on Thursday night and he lost. Friday night, he wanted to get back to even again, so he bet another game for $200 and he lost. Saturday night, he bet again for the 5th straight night, and he wanted to get his money back, so he doubled his bet again up to $400 plus, and he lost. And then on Sunday, not only did he decide, well, it's the end of the week because he's got to settle with his bookie every Monday, he decided not only to double his bet once again, up to $800 plus to get all his money back, but he decided to break one of his golden rules of betting, which he would never bet on the Baltimore Orioles because he was a Baltimore Orioles fan. So he decided, because he's going to have more of his heart than his head when it comes to the Orioles. He's never going to bet on or against his favorite team because he might not see it clear, but he thought he'd see it clear that day. He bet on the Orioles, and they lost. So he lost every game, doubling his bet for 6 straight days. On Monday, he had to go to the bookie because it's the way they used to work. He had to put all that cash into the envelope and hand it over to the bookie. And because he lost control for that 1 week, he actually wiped out all his profits that he had gained over the past 10 or 11 months he was betting. All wiped out in 1 week. 1 bad week. And you know what he decided to do? I can tell you what he decided to do, because this wasn't a good friend of mine. This was me. This was me. Okay. I decided that I was reasonably intelligent, reasonably rational. I wasn't being influenced by alcohol or drugs. And if in one given week, without any chemical influence, without any financial pressures, I could lose control where I kept doubling my bet every day, which is really a bad thing to do, that this was not good. And after I handed the money to Chuck, my bookie, I told him I'm done. He said, I've heard that a lot before. And I went cold turkey. That was last century. I have not made a bet in a sports book or with a bookie since. And best I can tell, in a very checkered lifetime, adult lifetime, professionally and personally, it was the best decision I ever made. And it isn't even a question, my friends, of that I'd probably be losing money all these years later. Maybe I'd be one of the few who won or stayed close to even, but chances are I'd be losing money. It's not even a question of the saved money. It's a question of a mentality. It's a question of the saved time and energy and money. Because every day back then, and this is before the internet, I would check the newspapers in the morning to see what the latest line was. And then I'd think about it all day. Am I going to bet the Knicks tonight? I don't know. Maybe I'll bet. Maybe I'll bet on the Hawks. And then by late afternoon, I'd think about on and off while I was working. Late afternoon, I had to make my bet. My bookie only took bets for a 1 hour period in the late afternoon to limit his time. And I'd make the bet. And then after I made the bet, no matter what I was doing that night, and again, this is before cable for me. Cable was in certain areas, but I wasn't hooked up for cable where I lived in Washington, D.C. I couldn't even follow the game on TV. So what I would be doing at night is trying to follow the game through sports updates on the phone. And then if I was out to eat somewhere, there was the old sports phone where you would call and you'd pay 50 cents or 75 cents, and then they'd give you all the scores in 1 minute, and they'd update it every 10 minutes. Sometimes I'd be out to eat at 9 or 10 o'clock at night, and NBA games come to a close, and I would go to use the payphone like 2 or 3 times in an hour's time. I would excuse myself from the table. I got to go to the bathroom. I think they thought I had a cocaine problem. I mean, how am I going to the bathroom every 20 minutes? I'd go get onto the payphone and make the call, boop, 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 and listen to the call, blah, 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 and then go real quickly and hear the score. So it would occupy too much of my day. It can get inside of you. So this is what I would say to you once again. If you want to recreationally gamble, that's okay. If it's part of your entertainment budget, that's okay. But it's a very thin line. It's very easy to go from here, where you're just making a bet once in a while because you want the action, to go for here that you need the action and you keep making more and more bets. And you're going to lose more and more bets. You got to be careful. So that was a decision I made way back when. Now, today, you can see the successful man I am. You see the wine rack. You see the Racco. You see the fine art from Ross Dress for Less or Target. I forgot where I got it. All right. The other problem with gambling, as we know, as we're coming up, is the increased chance of games being fixed. Player props could be fixed. We have a new Brazilian soccer game match fixing scandal that is emerging down there. There's been a long history of that. And as I talked about the last few weeks, one of the problems we also have is that people betting in-game stuff on their phone who start drinking, then are watching the game, can get unruly at the game. Get mad at a player because he missed a big shot. Get mad at a player because he didn't hit his prop total of points, rebounds, or assists. This is not good. On top of that, we have the problem of people looking more closely at the officials in all the sports, particularly the NBA. The NBA comes under the NBA, I think the baseball is a lot easier to officiate in general. It's balls and strikes and then who's safe or out at every play. NFL and NBA are tougher to do. In the NFL, most of the occurrences of like a holding and stuff, like an offensive line or defensive pass interference, it's a fast game. You don't even see it. The NBA, it's just right there in front of you, 5-on-5. You see the bad calls. You see what looks like to be the bad calls. The NBA this year has had a pretty bad year in officiating. I don't like to concentrate on officiating, but it's our money out there. If those officials are not doing a good job, it's taking money out of my pocket. I don't bet though. Anyway, the bad NBA officiating, my friends, is the subject of this week's foreign language rant. Warum sind die NBA Schiedsrichter so schlecht? Sie sind schlecht. Sie sind sehr, sehr schlecht. So viele Fälle. Die Leute wetten Geld auf das Spiel. Willst Geld. Wir wollen Gerechtigkeit. Block charge, inbound oder out of bounds. Mach es richtig. Ich brauch Geld. Ich muss Speck auf den Tisch legen. Farmer John's Speck, Bacon. Tim Donaghy? Nein! Tim Donaghy? Nein! Guten Nacht. We're working on in the future, because we know all of you don't speak all the languages I do. As we get a bigger budget, we will move to subtitles for those of you who do not completely understand what we are doing here. We're going to wrap up today, and I'm going to say this one time and one time only. Mookie Betts, my man. I told you we were in a good mood today. I usually complain when I'm going to say something one time and one time only, but this time, no. Okay, he's one of the best players in Major League Baseball. Probably headed to the Hall of Fame. Great defensive right fielder. First for the Boston Red Sox, now for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Last year, he filled in some in the infield, which is really nice of him because they had some infield problems. So one of the best defensive right fielders in the game. Now, this past offseason, they said, we're going to move you to second base permanently. Mookie said, fine, I'll play second base. Then in spring training, because their shortstop couldn't make the throw to first base, Lux, they said, Mookie, how about if we move you to shortstop? Move Lux to second base. And Mookie said, fine, I'll do that. He hadn't played shortstop since he was in high school. See, can you believe this? So he's now playing his third best defensive position. He was runner-up for MVP last year. He's off to a sizzling start. Are you kidding me? And guess what? Mookie Betts also is a bowler. He loves to bowl. Okay? And when you bowl, what do? When you bowl, you eat Fritos. When you bowl, you drink Fresca. Fritos and Fresca. It's a meal. Thank you so much for joining me this week. My name is Norman Chad. Hope you're joining us for the next episode of Gambling Mad. And remember, when you're gambling, assume you might lose. Cheers.